What's up, guys? We're back once again to r/nuclear revenge. Only got one story for you today, but it's a pretty good one. And of course, we've got our bonus afterwards, so stick around for that. And let's get into the good stuff. See you in a bit. Abandon my mother for your mistress? Watch as you lose everything you worked for. This is a very long story, so I'll include a TLDR at the end. Names have been changed to protect the innocent. The background. Midway through my senior year at college, my father got the privilege of opening the first plant in China when his company was granted permission. He was getting everything, and I mean everything. Business class on airfare, a penthouse, recognition in the company for being effectively in charge of the project, mingling with the higher-ups in the company, the works. This was exciting news for him, because he was close to retirement, and it seemed his hard work was finally paying off. My mom was happy, because now, with my younger brother starting college, and me about to graduate, she and her husband of over 30 years could enjoy their empty nest. She loves us dearly, but she called my father her soulmate, and wanted to spend their golden years together. However, things turned upside down in less than a year. Maybe the power went to his head. Maybe he was overwhelmed and stressed out with having to start a new life in a new country. Or maybe it brought out the ugliness that was already in his soul. I have no clue. I finished my senior year around Christmas time, only to see my father pack up his bags and leave us, saying he didn't want to be married to my mom anymore and was seeing someone else. To say the rug had been pulled out from under our feet was an understatement. It was like everything we had ever known had imploded. My father left us shortly before Christmas, and we started putting the pieces back together. I started working 2 jobs and slipping money into my mom's wallet because I was terrified my father would cut off our money. It was during this time we started therapy, and all 3 of us came to the realization that this man had been emotionally, verbally, and financially abusing us for years. It was something I'm still trying to work through, and I doubt I'll ever fully recover. Come springtime, my father had a change of heart. He contacted us and started making amends. Something in me was suspicious, and I held back, but I was happy because my mom was happy. She had lost a lot of weight and was crying consistently and was all in all miserable. He returned home for a 2-week vacation and then proposed a 3rd honeymoon, if you will. He and mom would return to China to work things out. My brother and I were staying back home as we were both busy with work and school. Mother and father left us with some important numbers to call in case of an emergency. The email address of my father's immediate supervisor, who I'll call Stan, and a weekly Skype session so we could stay in touch. Mother and father left for China, and it seemed that everything would work out. 2 weeks later, it was time for our weekly Skype session. The first week had been fine, and my brother and I were expecting to hear another good report. Instead of that, mom was alone, her eyes swollen and her face red. I immediately went into mama bear mode and asked mom in a voice that probably scared my brother and mom, "What happened?" Mom, crying, tells us that after making the rounds with the higher-ups, my father had packed his bags, told her he was going to Shanghai for 2 weeks with his girlfriend, and then told mom, "I want you gone by the time I get back." Mom, floored by this, asked him, "How?" Father, "I don't care." Then he left my mother in the penthouse with little food, no clean water to drink. We had been warned to never drink the water in China because it was nasty, to say the least, and no way to navigate through a country where she didn't speak the language or get a way home. She said, "I think he was using me to look good at work." Everyone was saying they were glad we were working out our problems. When I heard that, my fury boiled. I am fiercely protective of my family and friends. You can do whatever you want to me, but make any of my family members or friends cry, and you'll learn why it's a bad idea to pick on them. As much as I wanted to fly over to China track down my father and his mistress, and make them feel every ounce of pain that my mother was feeling, I knew that wasn't a smart or practical idea. Instead, I'd have to embarrass him so everyone knew what a scumbag he is. And an idea came to mind. The plan. After getting the information I needed from Mom and calming her down, I worked on the first part of my plan, bringing Mom home. I didn't have any money, nor did I have a visa to visit. However, I did have Stan's email. Using the skills I honed from my creative writing and general business studies, I wrote a lengthy email to Stan, crying over the keyboard as I drafted it. I explained who I was, what was going on, and that I was worried for Mom. I asked him to please help me find a way to reach my mom and bring her home. I promised him that I would repay every penny, even if it took the rest of my life. I added my personal email and phone number as a finishing touch, and asked him to contact me if he had any questions. After making sure it was perfect, a key lesson from my creative writing professor, make sure your writing is razor sharp, I sent it off along with a prayer that it would work. Stan never did return my email, but 24 hours later, Mom was safely home. I learned that Stan had gotten in touch with my mom within an hour of me sending the email, verified everything that had happened, and gotten her home on the first flight. I sent him another email thanking him for helping us, and told him I would repay the expense when I could. That time he did respond and said, "It's all right. Thank you though." That was the extent of our conversation, but I'm still very grateful to him for helping Mom, out of his own pocket, if I'm not mistaken. He's earned my respect, and I hope wherever he is, he's doing well. When Mom got home, it sunk in for us that the marriage was truly over, and we'd made plans to move on. They were divorced within a year, and we moved to Florida for a fresh start maybe a few years later. Mom found the new love of her life, who I call my stepdad, is working her dream job, something that never would have happened under my father, and is happier than I've seen her in a long time. My brother and I both are making our way in the world, and finding ourselves after spending our lives as our father's perfect children. As time passed, I actually forgot about the email, until recently, when Mom and I were both talking about Stan, and she revealed what had happened. The aftermath. I was just hoping to humiliate my father. Instead, my email launched massive legal and financial headaches for my father. Right after helping my mom get home, Stan decided that my father's behavior was worrying, because if he used his wife to hide the fact that he had a mistress, what else is he hiding? And started an investigation into my father. What he learned was mind-blowing. Not only was his mistress one of his subordinates, which is strictly against company rules, for some reason I can't remember, but he had another mistress on the side, both of whom he was plying with expensive gifts and vacations, to name a few. But that wasn't the topper. What was the evidence that my father might have been embezzling money from the company during his time in China? However, for reasons I don't know, criminal charges were out of the question. Instead, what they did to him, my father no doubt thinks, was even worse. My father was immediately demoted and sent home. His name was removed from the factory he had built, and his mistresses fired. Now, with this company, most of the promotions come not from what you know, but who you know. And since Stan knows many people, eventually, my father was forced to retire early before they fired him. He decided he had been discriminated against and tried to sue the company for unlawful termination. However, the evidence against him was overwhelming and he lost. Now, he's disgraced, hated by nearly everyone with limited contact with his family and friends. He's still convinced that he's an innocent victim and that time will prove him right. But everyone knows the truth. Do I feel guilty about helping to bring down my father? Now let Montessori's motto be my answer. Nemo me impune lacesset. TLDR, father leaves my mother for his mistress. One email from me results in his dirty laundry being exposed, And he's left jobless, friendless, and without any loved ones. Alright guys, it's just gonna be the one story for the day. Unfortunately, everyone else I'm trying to contact to about doing a nuclear revenge story is ghosting me at the moment. So let's head on over to the bonus of the day, which is gonna be r/gatekeeping. Let's do it. The real heroes after Avengers Endgame. LOL, get a real job, then you can be tired. Yet people don't understand, working in retail is among some of the hardest jobs out there, when you gotta deal with complete a-holes like this gentleman right here. What's that one thing no writer should ever do? No writer should ever write an experience story that isn't theirs to write. If you're a straight white dude, you don't write about the experience of coming out as a trans black girl. Write a diverse cast. Oh, my brain. But don't write the experience of something that needs to come from another. J.K. Rowling wrote about a schoolboy's experience, and she did pretty well. Let me ask a quick question. How do you write a diverse cast without being able to write about said diverse cast? Oh, the stupidity is palpable. Also, pretty sure George Lucas didn't come in contact with midichlorians in a land far, far away. So, just throwing that out there. This is not life. This is life. So apparently you're not living unless you're in the land of hobbits, elves, and magical rings. Got it. They said it couldn't be done, but we got Lord of the Rings, we got Star Wars, and we got Harry Potter, all in one episode. Thank you, you're too kind, thank you. If you haven't left somewhere carrying your screaming child surfboard style, you're not really parenting. Oh yeah, no problems at all with that. What are you doing to my son? Shut up, I'm parenting. Yeah, that's gonna go over well. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode, and if you're new around here, consider subscribing. Stay up to date with new releases, they come every single day. Alright, I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.